ratifies many of those changes, it sacrifices and completely eliminates congressional authority in order to review these impulsive Trump tariffs that he's switching on and off. And on top of that, for folks who are concerned about effectiveness in government, this Republican extreme spending bill removes all of the guardrails and all of the accountability measures to ensure that money is being spent in the way that Congress has directed for it to be spent. This turns the federal government into a slush fund for Donald Trump and Elon Musk. It sacrifices congressional authority, and it is deeply partisan. And so to me, it is almost unthinkable why Senate Democrats would vote to hand the few pieces of leverage that we have away for free when we've been sent here to protect Social Security, protect Medicaid, and protect Medicare.
You have expressed opposition to government shutdowns in the past. Here's your very first speech on the House floor.
It is not normal to shut down the government when we don't get what we want. It is not normal for public servants to run away and hide from the public that they serve. And it is certainly not normal to starve the people we serve for a proposal that is wildly unpopular among the American people.
Now, I get that you hate this continuing resolution. You don't think it's a good bill, but the alternative is likely a government shutdown.
Well, the alternative is to agree on a 30-day stopgap to keep government open as negotiated. The proposal is in front of the House. The proposal is on the Senate. Republicans had time to seek Democratic votes, and we can extend that time for them to seek that vote. Once again, we can come back. We can fly back. We can vote on this. We can get a stopgap measure, extend the amount of time to negotiate while we figure out a solution here for the American people. And I also agree, again, I maintain that position that government shutdowns, we can keep the government open with a 30-day clean CR. And on top of that, I also maintain the position that government officials and public servants should not be hiding from the public the way that Republicans are hiding and being instructed to not host town halls right now because of the outrage among the American public around their attempts to cut Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare.
My understanding is that your other senator, another Democrat, Kirsten Gillibrand, also thinks that the Democrats should vote to go forward with the spending bill, unlike Senator Tim Kaine that we just heard from. And my guess is, I don't speak for either Schumer or Gillibrand, but my guess would be if they were here, they'd say, you're being naive. It's really just a choice between voting for a government shutdown or voting not for a government shutdown. People aren't going to come back. It just doesn't happen that way. Again, that's not me. I imagine that that's what they would say to you.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that Senate Democrats think that it is beyond wildest convention for us to come back, but House Democrats have done that before. The House has reconvened in emergency sessions before. I've certainly voted on the floor of Congress they've even called us back from August recess before. This idea that it is beyond the scope of imagination for us to come back from vacation is just not an acceptable answer for the American public.
I want to play something that President Trump said earlier today. Take a listen.
If it's shut down, it's only going to be, if there's a shutdown, it's only because of the Democrats. And they would really be taking away a lot from our country and from the people of our country.
Your colleagues, House Republicans, are already using the term Schumer shutdown, which has that nice alliterative style. Are you not worried at all about Democrats taking the heat for the shutdown?
We know, and the American people are not going to have the wool pulled over their eyes. Everybody knows that Donald Trump is president, that Republicans have the Senate, and Republicans have the House. They have the keys to the entire United States government. And if Republicans wanted to avert a shutdown, they can. They can. If they need Democratic votes, then they can negotiate with Democrats to get those votes. It is simple. They have two options, to pass it with their votes or to pass it with Democratic votes. And we also see the data bearing this out. When you look at public polling from very reputable firms, we see that the American people understand that, and they know that the party in charge of government is the party that's in charge of keeping government open.
What do you think of the job Democratic leaders are doing, not just Senate Democratic leaders, but also Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader in the House, your fellow New Yorker, in terms of standing up to Trump?
Well, when we look at this vote around this government funding bill that we saw this week, Leader Hakeem Jeffries was able to keep the entire House Democratic caucus united and together.
Except for Jared Golden.
Right.
Except for
every
one.
single House Democrat, including every single House Democrat who won a Trump district, except for one out of over 200, voted against this deeply partisan, extreme Republican spending bill. Not just because they're Democrats, but because they know it's bad for the country. This bill is bad for the country. And so I think that in terms of Democratic leadership in the House, we've seen that result in the House. I think it's time that we see similar results in the Senate.
Would you, what do you think of the job that Chuck Schumer is doing? Would you ever challenge him, do you think?
I think that what we need right now is a united Senate Democratic caucus that can stand up for this country and not vote for cloture and not vote for this bill. And I think that the strength that we have is in this moment. Reconciliation and all of these, Republicans do not need Democratic votes for that. They need it for this. And so the strength of our leadership in this moment is going to demonstrate the strength of our caucus. And I cannot urge enough how bad of an idea it is to empower and enable Donald Trump and Elon Musk in this moment. It is dangerous and it is reckless.
Well, you just talked about the strength of your leadership. Chuck Schumer just said that he's going to vote for cloture. Not only the Democrats can do it, but he's going to participate in it. Does that mean that you think he's a weak Senate leader?
I think that that would be a mistake. But we have time between now and tomorrow, and I hope that individuals that are considering that reconsider it. I genuinely do. I don't think it's what New Yorkers want. I don't think it's what the country wants. This is genuinely not about Democrats or Republicans. This is about deep cuts to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. This is about the evisceration of the federal government. This is about codifying the looting that is happening at the behest of Elon Musk in order to pay for his tax breaks for billionaires. And we have a responsibility to stand up for it. That is why people elected us, and that is our responsibility to them right now.
Truth Social, President Trump praised Senator Schumer for having the, quote, guts to do the right thing, calling his support of the spending bill a smart move. How will that sit, you think, with House Democrats?
Well, again, I don't think we should be moving in any way to elicit praise from Donald Trump, who has no respect for Congress and the power of the purse, who is by the hour rolling out proposals and executive actions that are lawless and that are callous. We do not want to be praised by Donald Trump. This is a hostile government takeover. He is a dictator. And what do you meet a dictator with? Defiance. The Democrats can't only be the adults in the room. We have to be the fighters too. And that is the message that we are hearing every day from our constituents and what they want to see from us in this moment. We have to be exhaustive and leveraging every tool available in their defense.
Joining us now, Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, who represents Rhode Island and is Budget Committee Chair. Senator, thanks for being with us. What should your party do?
Well, there's going to be a disagreement in the Senate. It looks like the result will be that the continuing resolution will pass, and whatever happens will happen, and it will happen soon. What matters most is what then happens next, and that is how quickly Democrats can get back together to focus on the real bad actor in this drama, which is the Trump-Musk axis that set up this fake contest between a horrible CR and a horrible shutdown to divide Democrats and set us quarreling, and either way transfer more power to President Trump. And looks like there's going to be a little bloodletting, looks like there's going to be a little recrimination, but the sooner we get past that and the sooner we get on to fighting the real danger, the better off we will be. So that's going to be the Democrats' test in the next few days. Can we get back to work and quit quarreling and fussing with each other?
You're voting no, though, on this.
Explain. No, I don't like it at all. But I've got colleagues who I respect a lot who are voting yes. And I think they have very sincere views as to what happens in a shutdown with an administration like Trump's that wants a shutdown, that does not want to reopen the government, that loves the powers of contingencies and non-essentialness determinations and riffing and all the things that allow them to basically remake the executive branch in MAGA's image with no oversight from Congress any longer because we've let them go into shutdown.
You're saying that you believe this is going to pass. The only senators that we have a yes on right now are the Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Senator Cortez Masto, and Senator Fetterman. Is there anyone else that you know to be a yes?
I just take the leader at his word that he's done an accurate whip count and that the votes are there for this to happen.
Explain why the leader is so concerned about letting this government shut down and why you are not as concerned as he is.
I think it's precisely what I said, that in shutdown mode, the operation of government moves really over to the executive branch entirely, and specifically within it to the Office of Management and Budget, which is led by a near maniacal crank named Russell Vought, who's been neck deep in the 2025 project. So you can expect him to have this be his happiest day ever as he can go about his long sought purpose to disassemble the federal government of the United States. Then when we try to get back out of shutdown, guess who's going to have to bring us back out? It's going to be Republicans in Congress and Trump. So they'll bring out DOD first. They'll bring out veterans. They'll bring out Homeland Security. Do they ever bring out the EPA? Do they ever bring out the Department of Education? So it puts enormous, unprecedented power into the hands of a very dangerous group of individuals.
So look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Donald Trump, in a sense, got his way. But let's also be clear. Donald thought this was the final victory. He made a critical mistake in thinking that. He thought that the Democratic Party is a cult like the Republican Party. And I'm not going to pretend that sometimes when you criticize the Democrats, even when they deserve it, you do have some Democratic partisans get loud and angry at you. When you say, hey, the Democrats could have done something better there, they just go, they go at you. But let's be also clear that this is not a cult. The Democratic Party is not a cult like the Republican Party is. It just isn't. And so, when Donald does something truly insane, if not illegal and unconstitutional, 99% of the Republicans clap like seals. He thought everyone would bend the knee to Chucky. He thought everyone would bend the knee to Schumer. He thought every single, or again, 99% of Democrats would bend the knee to Schumer. But what happened is the opposite, and it's seemingly 90% of Democrats are calling him out, or at the very least disagree with him, if not in some cases, at least behind the scenes, calling for his head, saying AOC should primary him, even some moderates. Because while they might disagree with AOC on the policy, what they both agree on is the need to fight these thug Republicans. And so Trump miscalculated. He thought this was going to absolutely take over the Democratic Party. He thought today was the day the Democratic Party died forever. Trump literally believed that. This was the end of politics. The end. He fascist dictator for life starting today because he got Chuck Schumer to bend the knee. But the Democratic Party, even if it's only some of it, has dashed Trump on the House floor and in other places.